fam. Welcome to another episode of Good, Bad, and Ugly about real estate with Jose. Got a great guest for you, my friend Heather. Woo! How's it going, Heather?
It's going great.
Nice to hear it. Nice to hear it. Well, we normally like to introduce our guest. I know Heather from the Owners Club with Pace Morby. I believe we met probably at the spring retreat in Scottsdale. So we're almost coming up on a year knowing each other. But it's not about you and me. It's about everybody meeting you. So can you share, a little bit about yourself and your journey in real estate?
Sure. So I actually come from a web development background. I was a web developer for 10 years. I started off with a digital marketing company. So at that company, I built websites, created funnels for clients, I even did Facebook ads, did all sorts of things. Basically anything that you can think of, like online presence, digital, API integrations, like all of it. And I switched to marketing director there before I eventually left. And then I worked as a contract web developer for a few years. And I actually, I sold my house, which kind of started like this whole thing, a domino effect of different changes in my life. I went down to Honduras for 3 months and got my dive master certification.
Ooh.
And that just kind of made me feel like I need to get out from behind the screen, because as web developers, you just tend to sit at the computer all the time. And I decided, I just don't want to do that. So what is something that would get me out from behind the computer that wouldn't require me to go back to school? And so I came up with becoming a realtor. So I came back to the US, got my realtor license, and dove into that. And I ended up finding through my real estate manager, actually, found REEN, which is a women's network. So I joined that. I ended up going on another like diving vacation to Bon Air and just thought about my life and everything. And I came back and said, okay, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to, figure out this real estate thing because there's so many possibilities. And I hadn't even gotten into the networking part of it yet. I just really knew like the realtors in my office. And then I discovered Pace, and I followed him for about 6 months until I decided to join Sub 2, and then just got involved in the Sub 2 family. And it was so cool. It was so different from anything that I experienced. And I just knew that I found my people. So when I first started this real estate journey, I thought, man, I just need to completely hang up my web developer hat and, do what Pace is teaching, go out and wholesale, do whatever it is that I need to do. And it wasn't until about a year after I was in Sub 2 that I said, oh, well, my skills are actually valuable. I need to, put that hat back on and be able to help people in the things that they're not good at. So I ended up meeting a guy at the Golden Ticket last year, and we had a really long conversation, and I came on as his operator. And I did skip a step. I was a TC for 6 months in there somewhere too.
I was going to say, if no one's going to know what an operator is, you got to kind of backfill a little bit.
Yeah, so I was a TC for a while. It was about 6 months after I started Sub 2. And I did a handful of files. I decided that I didn't love being married to my inbox, because I felt like something was just going to blow up if I took my eyes away for 1 second. Right. So I wanted to pivot into something that was similar in skill set, but a little bit different too. And I kind of came across this operator role, and this was before the operator badge came out. I think it was whenever Pace was talking to Chris Sheff about his operator role that he was looking for. And so that got my wheels spinning, and I decided, that's something that I could do. I also have an MBA, so basically anything business/technology I can do. So I came on as an operator for this one. It was a wholesaling company who's been around for about 5 years. So he had a lot of processes, and I said, oh man, I can really like learn the business from him too. So it was like a double benefit.
Right.
I worked for him. I actually ended that relationship last month. But Yeah, I worked with them for almost a year and learned a ton. So about, managing a wholesaling business, managing VAs, all the tech stack that goes into it because he was using a lot different tools than anybody that I had seen. And then I started REI Integrator after I went to Belize on a mastermind. So I went with investor girl Britt to her boutique hotel down in Belize and stayed there for about 5 days. Got to hang out with her and Bethany LaFlamme and their other partner. He lives in Belize, and then about 4 students. So it was a very individualized attention. It was a test run for their mastermind.
Right.
Super cool. But I just floated the idea past them of like REI Integrator of like having an agency of operators. And they're like, "Yeah, this sounds super needed. Like you should do this." And it was cool to just hear that validation outside of, PACES communities.
Right.
So I came back, went to the fall retreat for Owners Club, and just shouted to the world that I was an operator. And I've talked to so many people since then, just on, how I can help their business. And I've got, a pretty good bit of clients, just, in different things, whether it's building a website, building an e-commerce store, helping in their business, just in things that they're not super handy with. And yeah, there's so many more plans for that side, but it's just been really cool to build a team.
So
So
it sounds like your focus is being an operator. Do you have any aspirations to actually do buy and hold, or like an Airbnb, any kind of rentals or fix and flips, or build your own wholesaling company?
so I do want to clarify that I'm not personally an operator anymore. I have
Okay.
embraced my visionary side. So I actually run a team of operators now. I
Oh,
have all
nice.
the operator skill sets, but I'm more of like the front facing person of the company, and I talk to all the clients and then they fulfill on the work. So
Okay.
it's been an interesting transition and one that I've really enjoyed because I don't know if it's personal growth or how that even works because I used to be an introvert, but now I'm more of an extrovert. But like it's just been this whole like personal journey.
Right.
Um, so I'm in my visionary role. I have created this company and I'm also working on creating a secondary company that will kind of bolt onto it, and it will be for administrative assistance. So, because there's this whole scale of skills that are needed within businesses, and
Sure.
many of the people that I talk to actually want admin assistance. So I'm working on that right now. But as far as real estate, to answer your question,
Help me
self storage.
understand this.
Can you repeat?
Sorry, the the video on my end was all. Say that last part one more time, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say to answer your original question, my real estate investment part is self storage.
Gotcha. Okay. So you mentioned trying to get, or you're going to train admin assistants. So can you share with the audience what the difference between maybe an admin assistant and what you have your team of operators do for business owners?
I would love to explain that because that's probably my number one question that I get with people is like, what's the difference between one, an integrator and an operator? And what's the difference between an operator and an assistant? Like those three roles are just so meshed in people's minds. And I feel like there's not really a good explanation in the community of the differences. So, starting with an integrator is more of a systems person. They're more of the techie side of things. They can put together all of the workflows, the automations, the AI, build out the website, all of that stuff. So that's that role, and it's very much project based. This is how I define it. It might not be how, Pace or Molly or anyone defines it, but just based on the conversations that I've had and how my business model has grown, it
Right.
is project-based work. And so you get in, get out. Operator is more of a management role. So it's very high level, kind of fractional COO. They help build the business and run it. And they're more on the people side and the processes side. So they can help with the processes. They might not be the one that builds them out. They might, contact an integrator for that. But they're very much that, your right hand person. And then there's an assistant. So a lot of people aren't ready for the right-hand person. They're more, they want to take some of the task off of their own plate and hand it off to somebody else. So they might not have the SOPs in place. That might be like, how Dan Martell was talking about creating the Loom videos of what you do day by day and just handing that off to somebody. But all of that, like, well, depending on what you're doing, but most of it can be handed off to an assistant, something that or someone that's doing repetitive tasks every day that you can basically outline, like, okay, on Mondays, you're going to do this. On Wednesdays, you're going to do this. Every day, you need to check in on this process. Or you need to watch this email and tell me if anything comes up or help me put stuff on my calendar. That's all admin assistant work. And it's what a lot of people need. It's just they don't want to go through all the work of trying to recruit somebody that matches with them. So that's something that I see as a need in the community to find really, I guess, high level VAs that can really mesh with a team and be a good worker and a good teammate.
Awesome. So, it's funny that you bring up operator because I've tried to interview a couple from the list that Molly's put out and just things have not worked out.
Mhm.
So, I might have to, after this video, reach out to you and see if we can work something out. So you talked about traveling a little bit and, kind of just finding your way. Do you feel like now that you're not working at the wholesale company anymore and you're pretty much like your own owner of businesses that you have a lot more freedom? A lot of people, that's what they seek when they do real estate.
I would argue that I have less freedom. I have so much stuff on
That
my plate.
cool. Um, so you mentioned storage facilities. Why did you decide to focus on that niche compared to the others that are out there?
So I actually went to BPCon in 2023 and I heard AJ Osborne on his self-storage workshop. Before then, I had never considered it. I was like, oh, that sounds super boring. And it is kind of boring. I will admit it. But the way that he explains it, and I actually ended up joining his self-storage income community back early last year. It's really cool because I feel like it's a very scalable endeavor. It's like everything's systematic.
Sure.
So the underwriting systematic, the getting in and improving the facilities are systematic. It's very much like, oh, here's this laundry list of things that you can do to improve the facility. And so I feel like I could tackle any opportunity and be able to build a team. So the cool thing about REI Integrator is that I can build out teams that are specific for different things. So like one thing that I want to do in the future is build out a self-storage team. So that's somebody who can basically be the operator of the self-storage facilities. That I bring on and potentially have some sort of operator partnership with other self-storage buyers.
And REI Integrated, that's that group that you went to Belize with, right?
No, that's the company I formed after I went to Belize.
Ah, got you. Okay, so
Mhm.
REI Integrator is your company. Now
Yes.
I'm tracking.
Mhm.
Okay. So the name of the company, goodness gracious, the name of the channel is Good, Bad, and Ugly. Can you share with us a good story that you have in your journey in real estate, and then maybe something that wasn't so nice that you had a life lesson from?
Yeah, let's see, starting with the good, I would say Owners Club has been one of the best things that has happened to me in my journey, just
Sure.
because I was struggling before I joined Owners Club, just in, like, defining my vision and where I wanted to go, so I was, I guess, treading water, you could say.
Sure.
And kinda just trying to find that active income, do whatever it took day by day. But I think Owners Club has really helped me nurture my own visionary inside of myself and
Right.
be able to build out that plan. So now every day I feel like I'm working towards something with intention. So that's been when you say good, that's what comes to mind first. Um,
Perfect.
as far as bad, I think it'd be just the partners that I've either like decided to part with or it just didn't work out. I think everyone in their journey, they get excited about a certain person that they want to work with, and they might even work with them for a certain period of time. But there's always this point where one person outgrows another person, or you start having differing beliefs or values and all of this stuff. There's so many things that can happen in a partnership. And I think the worst part of my journey has just been saying goodbye to people. And it's always interesting whenever you end a partnership too, because you think you're friends with somebody and then you end a partnership and you might not be as close as friends. I talked every day with the guy that I was partnering with, or an operator for a year, and thought I was really good friends with him. We haven't spoken since I we parted ways. So that's probably the worst part about it.
Well, sometimes that's hard. My wife worked for a doctor for about 5 years, and they were really close to the point that friends, they work for, she was an employee. But as soon as she left that office, uh, yeah, we haven't heard from him. I mean, if we have an issue that we can go to him with, he's very polite to us, but it's not like they go out to, reach out and just call and say hi and see how things are going. So sometimes it's just hard because, like you said, the relationship has changed.
Mhm.
So, um, yeah, I can see that. I've had my issues with partners in the past too. So, I think it's just kind of a way of life in this particular industry because,
Yeah.
um, I can tell you some horror stories of partners in my journey that almost made me just shy away from ever wanting to partner with anybody again, trying to just figure out how to do this as a solopreneur. But like you, I found Owners Club and realized that trying to do things on my own just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So at least it doesn't allow me or afford me the opportunities that I would have if I partnered with people. So um,
Mhm.
I would have to agree that Owners Club was a positive in my journey as well. I wouldn't be doing this podcast if it would for that.
Mm.
Paige kind of challenged us in Boston, and since then I've been um, kind of going strong ever since. Um, one question I do have for you after talking with you is, so you had the techie person, which is I'm by trade an IT guy, right? But then now you're embracing your visionary. I read the book Rocket Fuel, right? So it talks about the integrator and visionary. Do you find yourself that you're kind of like both, or do you feel like you're more of a visionary than you are an integrator with all your systems and your funnels and stuff that you used to create or train people to create for you now?
Would it be a weird answer to say if it was by the day and what I felt like?
Oh,
Sometimes.
I think that's fair.
So I'll tell you about this side project too, which will kind of answer this question.
Okay.
I'm using my integrator skills right now to build a SaaS. So
Oh, okay. You
it's
want to tell me what SAS stands for? Because people not in the business won't know what that is.
software as a service. So basically, every CRM that you're using is a software as a service, basically something that you're just using that somebody else has built. So the SaaS that I'm building, and this can be kind of a sneak peek because I don't think I've publicly shared anything about it yet, is Rocket Skip is the name of it, and it's going to be it started off as a skip tracing company idea, but
Right.
it's morphed into a data automation toolkit. So
Okay.
basically, it's it's very much integration heavy. So it will have a Go High Level app. It will have a Zapier's app, um,
Okay.
something that you can plug into your existing systems. So not only can you just fire off a skip tracing call, but you can also I'm working as the next stage of creating an automated underwriting uh,
Ooh.
integration too. So you can do pass or fail for a long-term rental, which will really help with pretty much everybody who's getting a bunch of emails to about different deals or
Sure.
whatever the use case is. And then through ARIA Integrator, we'll be offering, oh, here's how you can do automations for or different things and have all these scenarios built out. So it's going to be really cool. I'm excited about it. I have so much work to do before Squat Up. I want to
And
get
it's
something.
just around the corner. We got basically a month from today.
Yeah, but so basically, like day by day, I take it however I feel about it. Like, is it visionary day or is it integrator day? And if it's
Measured by the
integrator
hour.
day, yeah, it might be by the hour. So I just put on my headphones and just start jamming out to music and coding. And it just fulfills the side of my brain that talking to people doesn't. And so
Okay.
I just kind of switch between, I guess, two different personalities.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, as long as both of them are being fed, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, can you elaborate a little bit on what you have your operators, what kind of service that your operators are providing to business owners? Because that's one of the things I think that maybe I misunderstood. Because when I joined Owners Club, I was looking for my Molly. And for the people that don't know who Molly is Pace Morby's like operations director, director of operations. I mean, she's also a business partner of his, but she started off as basically kind of running the ship for him, and that's kind of what I was looking for mine. So, can you kind of, and you mentioned being fractional,
Mhm.
um, in a fractional role too. So, can you kind of explain that as well? What exactly, what kind of services your operators are offering, and B, what do you mean by the term fractional in that role?
Yes. So the easiest question first is fractional means not full time.
Right.
So a lot of times we work, 10 hours a week on somebody's business.
Mhm.
And it's such a versatile role too. I think that's what makes it hard to define. Um, so an operator can come in and they can, depending on what type of business it is, basically take a lot of the load off of you as the person running the company and start, maybe it's managing your team. If you have a team, if you have vendors in place, if you have relationships, if you need to, basically they are the people who get things done, but
Right.
on a high level. So one analogy that I made last week when talking to somebody is an operator is the creator and the assistant is the doer. So the operator is the one who can drive your business forward. They're the ones who you plan out, the next quarter with and say, here's what I want to accomplish. Here are the goals, and here's how we're going to determine success through these KPIs, through, these mini launches, depending on what your business is. And then the operator is the one who can go through and say, okay, here's all the tasks to be able to do that. And then here's the people those tasks are going to be assigned to. And I'm going to be the one that checks on those and make sure that they're done and basically just runs everything. And it's just such a ambiguous way of saying it, but it's because there's so many different types of businesses. So like a wholesaling company will look completely different than an e-commerce store because I just worked with Mando on his.
Right.
So
It turned out great. I'm already pushing that store out. In
yeah, so a little plug for Mando. If you want to some great merch, go to the real estate deli
real estate deli dot store.
store.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And if you want to see what kind of work Heather does in her team, you can look at it too because she helped build that. So if that's something that you're looking forward or looking to do some maybe e-commerce. Um, Heather may be the person that you need to reach out to. Her and her team can provide that kind of service for you.
Yep.
So talking about services, you kind of shared a lot with what you do. When we were in Boston, one of the things that Pace kind of challenged us to do is like, what are your haves and what are your needs? So, what is it that you're looking for to help grow your business? This is for me personally, and then for the audience too, whoever watches this now and in the future. Um, what are you looking for today to help grow your business, or who are you looking for as a partner?
So yeah, I'm looking for people who have, I guess, a solid plan. So it's one thing to work with somebody who is still trying to figure things out, but if somebody has a goal and they already like they know what they need, they just need the person to fulfill it. That's the people I want to work with because it's super easy to just take an idea or a concept and fulfill it. Um,
Right.
rather than, oh, let's try to work together to figure it out because then it becomes kind of like a counseling session of like, okay, what's your goal actually? Let's try to figure this out. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not what I'm equipped to do at this point in
Right.
time. And so, like, if you know what you want and you're just, needing that person to do it, I can be the doer. Me and my team can be the doer.
Definitely got to check you out because, like I said, I feel like when I read that book, Rocket Fuel, I felt like I was an integrator, but I'm also a visionary, And I think, like you, I kind of sometimes, depending on the day, transition between the both of them. But I really feel like I would flourish once I know that I have an operator that can do it. That old saying is like, nobody can do it as good as me. Well, I want to get out of that habit, that mindset. I want to find somebody that can do it better than me, right? Because there are people that know things better and can do things better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, enough about me because this is about you. So if the audience that's watching this wants to get in touch with you to either get your um, operator services, maybe your administrative assistant services, find out more about REI Integrator, or I know I'm missing one. Operator, integrator. Oh, your system of processes.
Mhm.
How can they get a hold of you?
Sure. So I have a website, reiintegrator.com. If you want to directly email me, you can email me at heather@reiintegrator.com. And usually, if you are interested in moving forward, we would jump on a call and see what you need. A lot of like this whole conversation has been, every business is different. So it's really hard to convey in just a paragraph or, whatever you need. So we just talk it through because a lot of times in that initial conversation, you come out of that meeting thinking you needed one thing, but then
Find
coming
out.
out, "Oh, I actually need something else." I can't tell you how many conversations I've had like that, which I'm happy to, like, point people in a different direction too. If I'm not what they need and they actually need this other thing. That's actually, um one big reason I'm going down this administrative assistant path is
Sure.
because a lot of people just need admin assistance. Like, they don't need an operator. They just need somebody who can do those repetitive tasks so that they are freed up to work on their business.
Awesome. Well, Heather, I just want to take this time to thank you so much for taking the time to come on my podcast and sharing your journey and what you offer. Um, Everybody, don't worry about it. I will make sure that all of her contact information is in the description so that if you don't have to go back and watch it, although I would appreciate if you do. Always do the like and subscribe, as everybody else says on their channels. And again, thank you, Heather, for coming out. I look forward to seeing you in almost a month in Dallas at Squad Up. And for those of you who are watching, this will be out before then. So there'll be a link if you want to join us there in Dallas and have a great time. So until then, bye, fam. Talk to you later.
Yes, thank you for having me.